I'm 39 now. Between family and friends, I probably have lost 35 people. Probably.
Name them. No, sorry. Oh, bad joke. Sorry.
While. So you have to give your child enough space to be them. I've found the people that I know that are really successful, their parents were their biggest cheerleaders.
What did you do with your first big chunk of money?
Fucked it off. I blew it. Yeah.
Okay, how much was it?
I don't want to say the amount, but it
Why?
was an amount. Like,
I thought we were friends.
We are,
okay, can you give me ballpark? Just so I'm a little babe. I don't know anything about money.
It's a few little coins. That's funny. It was a little bit.
Okay, like how many zeros?
More than 3, less than 6.
That's how I talk about how many people I've had sex with.
Like everyone wants to be like the guy or the girl with all the attention. Even like when people are like, oh, you should do this for the culture. And I'm like, man, a culture like the streets is a myth. It doesn't exist.
Ooh.
Like there is no real black culture.
Like what are your rituals for things like this? Because I'm learning them. Without getting too explicit, Ian, it's bad. I've been acting since 2011 and I have the worst nerves.
Do you?
Oh.
Why you're talented?
I'll tell you.
Are you even listening?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I mean.
I have the worst coping skills.
Got you, okay.
I'm talking to this boy who always says like, I believe anxiety is, he's like a coach. That's how I knew I was gonna fall for this guy, because he's like such a dad, always wanting me to assess a situation and see what I learned or how I can, when you talk to someone you're like, oh, you can make me better. Anyways, he was saying that he believes in
Microphone.
Oh, mommy. I can do this. I get it. He was saying, I believe anxiety exists. I believe it 100%. However, he was saying, I don't support or condone using it as an excuse off rip. Like he prefers to look at it as, what are my coping skills now? What are they presently?
Yeah.
What can I adjust? Assess the anxiety then.
Easier said than done.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. But I think he acknowledged, or not acknowledged, he noticed in getting to know me that is something that I say with some kind of frequency. Like I say it frequently enough for him to be like, all right, let's talk about this real quick.
I would never think that you have anxiety though.
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong.
Yeah, you're a natural performer.
Yeah, that's how I know this is God. Because internally, I don't believe in myself. Like, I need so much, my strength and my confidence does not come from me. I've become a stronger actor, performer, speaker, storyteller because I'm a Christian now. And I truly believe that I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, and that my strength and my confidence is funneled directly from him.
Okay.
So you're right. I do believe that I'm there's a natural ability there.
Talent.
I don't know what it is, and I can't really put my finger on it. I just know that it's God, because left to my own devices, I crumble. I have the worst anxiety. I'm talking about poor Clara. Poor Clara. She always tries to get me to network, to do things outside. I'm such an introvert. I don't leave the house, and that's not a critique at myself. That's more of a observation.
Assessment,
It's an assessment, and it's been like that always. I am an introvert, but I've now realized that I kind of use it as a crutch, not to. You
gotta push yourself forward. You're worthy.
Yes, and that's another part of walking in grace and faith, because it's not about what I want, and it's not about my iniquity. It's about how He sees me. In fact, in Matthew tells us about this, like we should not be acting on our iniquities. In fact, we should be suppressing them and replacing them with the Lord. He has so much mercy on us. He has so much mercy and grace on us, and that's a gift, right? It's a gift. What a smack in the face if you don't acknowledge your gift and use it.
That's very true.
So that flip happened to me in 2018 when I became a Christian and I heard Christ for the first time. And I just
Take me through the moment when you decided to become Christian. Like what
decided
resonated?
to become, wow, I wish it was that like
What clicked for you?
easy. The light switch moment, my call. I was having some pretty loud and intense like suicidal ideation, which again, it's not anything that I'm unfamiliar with. It wasn't completely alien to me, but I was so married and identified by career at this time. And in a sense, I sort of am, but I'm no longer identified by that. I'm identified by Christ. But back then, I believed that my worth came from, career success.
Yeah.
And, comparison is the thief of joy. I was surrounded by I have a lot of blessed, talented friends around me who eclipsed me in terms of career. And, I was 24. If anyone has been 24, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not 24, good luck. But like, it felt like these are how the thoughts start. The thoughts first start, maybe mommy and daddy will be okay. And at that point, thankfully, the Lord has presented himself many times in friendship for me. And I had a friend who was like meditating, and she had taught me some like meditation stuff, like basic stuff. And that same person, after a couple months of meditation, I don't know why you would tell someone who was like having suicidal ideation to try acid, but here we are, again, 24 and dumb, right? Like, so I did acid with my really good friend, and I was 25 at the time. And so I was no spring chicken. I did it really responsibly. Like we had her roommate babysit us. We had fresh mango, strawberries, water.
How was it?
It was terrifying and transformative at the same time. I was reading the Bible on my phone. I was reading the book of John, chapter 5. And in that moment, I won't say that I heard. It wasn't auditory at the time. It felt, and I'm going to say something, and I really want to choose my words because I don't want it to be misconstrued, and I also don't want to mislead people, right? I'm not an advocate for everyone to do psychedelics, right? But I felt like something that I can only describe it as like an orgasm, but it was just like so euphoric. It felt like a peak, and I can only like describe it as like I felt like I was in like this pastel, like God's museum almost, and like he said welcome, and then I just remember the Lord like asking me like, hey, hi, what is this I hear about you not wanting to be around? Oh, you are so worthy of this body. This body it's built for you. This is yours. I've given it to you. You are so loved. And that was it. Yeah. That was it. And I've never been the same ever since. Of course, I still experience, I'm a crier. I still thank you for even like for allowing me the space to even talk about this. First of all, you're my guest. But that was my call. That was my calling. And in that day, I recall towards the end of my trip, like we were coming down, and I just remember being compelled to like use my voice. And then on the come down, I was and I sing all the time. I sing on the podcast. I used to sing. It's like it's such a joyous thing. I would never want to do it professionally, but it's something that it's been I've never had that many friends. I was a loner weirdo, but growing up, and music was my friend. And I felt the Lord say, your voice is the key. Something like that, something of that nature. I don't even know if it was English, right? Because anyone who trips on acid knows. Have you done psychedelics? No. Never? Interesting. I have an expression that's like, I don't trust anyone who hasn't done a psychedelic at least twice.
I got to earn your trust then. My family.
I want to know about. So wait, you're
no, don't turn it. Finish. Stay in the moment.
ADHD.
Stay in the moment.
Another Bible babe said that my congregation is ADHD. Yeah, the listeners of the show are very honest with me. very, almost too honest. I don't know how I feel about it.
Listeners and fans can be tough. I love you guys. Anyway.
I love the Bible-based stuff.
Yeah.
I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But after that, I started, and I was already really interested in theology and philosophy and that kind of stuff. It just like snowballed into other things. And the way I used to read my Bible before and the way I used to read my Bible after that day.
Dramatically different.
A different
What's your favorite book in the Bible?
Oh my God, you can't ask me that.
I have to.
It depends on the season, what season I'm in.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and say that, but the one that I always go back to, and I'm always like, it reminds me of listening to like trap music at the gym, is the book of James.
Okay.
Oh man, that man gave it to you in a really honest way. I feel like the way I receive and accept love is through a bit of, I like tough love.
Yeah.
I think that's how I transmute affection is if someone sandwiches it in like something really, really, honest, almost brutally honest, uncomfortably honest, and they sandwich it in truth.
Yeah.
And sometimes that isn't flowery, like the way people like to be loved. And I don't view love that way. For me, love is the truth no matter what. It's unrelenting truth. That's love. And James provides that. I mean, Jesus' brother, he tells us, oh, there's a line that I'll tell you right now that's really been looming over me. Oh, I'm such a narcissist. Like my first guest, and I'm the one talking.
I want to know because it's important that you share your journey.
That's where we're going to get back to you. It's James chapter 4, verse 17. And James tells us about how passivity is a sin. And I have, a lot of my life has been spent idle and in this passive state. And I have a lot of, I have to make up for a lot of lost time.
Is that rooted in fear or just not knowing which direction you wanted to take?
It's rooted in being misled. It's ruined in trusting people too easily. And also rooted in, I would say it's just rooted in my engagements and my relationships, which I've always had growing up. I'm single and I haven't been in a real relationship in a really long time, but I just struggle. I struggle with that. But in that book of James, he tells us that when I understood sin as the action. What actionable thing is morally corrupt? And in that verse, he tells us that turning your cheek away from sin is punishable by divine law as well. And that, I call them like spiritual pangs.
Yeah.
How many times have I turned my cheek because I said, it ain't me.
Yeah.
It ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Let me stay out of it.
Hey now.
Yeah.
Hey now.
We've all done it.
And I mean, you look rich. You smell rich. And listen, I'm dressed like a dollar bill too, but
Dress is fine, and that coat too. That
thank you. Oh, well, I'll put it on in a second because it's hot. But we love WTF Media.
Yes.
It's actually great temperature. I was gonna say that in money, and not just any money. I'm talking about people that make a lot of money. The top tier percentage. Like, I have a feeling that there's a lot of turning cheek. A lot of, I can't see it, so I won't say anything. How do you feel about that?
I tell people I think we're entering the era in which people that are corrupt, that mislead and rob, that era is going to come to an end very soon. So usually, yes, people turn the other cheek and say, hey, it's not me. It's okay for the betterment of my finances or my family. But I think in this era, I think that's going to go away. I think the people that are good people, that are kind, I think they're going to rise back to the top. And those that are like villains or evil in nature, they're not going to do as well. What has been like the most, without naming names, of course, and not jeopardizing relationships, what's been the most kind of, what kind of corruptness have you seen in regards to people like making the big bucks? Oh, I can't say which company. I know like one of the top 15 companies in the world the entire idea was stolen from somebody that they were friends with, and they took it and gave it to their friend, and they built a multi-billion-dollar company out
Off
of
someone else's idea.
Yes.
Bastard.
And that's not even like that's like low-hanging fruit, because it's technically no one was hurt, no one was injured. There's a lot of corruption that does.
And how have you ever been tempted?
Yeah, of course.
To do something morally not as sound?
Yeah, we all have. Especially if someone crosses me, I'm like,
oh yeah.
Let's go to war.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, let's talk about it, because we didn't plan this, but this week I've been so mad.
Yeah.
Se me metió el diablo. Like you were saying that when someone plays you, you become irate or whatever. You want to know what gets me in a fury?
What's that?
When my family and friends are threatened, almost more than me.
Yeah.
It makes me see red.
Yeah.
It makes me. I'll tell you. I'm not someone that like is easily angry. I don't feel like that's my state. My state is like gloom and doom and like happy.
Yeah.
The both extremes. That's where I feel comfy. The most familiar.
Yeah.
But if I see someone cause harm to my family or people that have been there for me, it's almost like I'm the most distant from God. I feel the hang up. I feel the connection, and I feel myself going like this so that he doesn't call.
Yeah.
That's what happens when people fuck with my family.
Yeah.
So when you said what? Okay. Okay. When you get in that state of fury, like what's that? What gets you to that like that
Betrayal.
place where,
like, if I think that we're friends or we're close, and then you betray me or someone that I love, then I'm like, same as you. Like, hey, God, I hear you. I know I should do this, but I don't know. I need to get my revenge, and I need to set you in your place. And I'm learning that's not the right course of action to take, because loyalty is big to me. So if you do anything that's remotely funny, or you want to steal or take ideas and tell me that the idea isn't great, but you would take it to your friend and tell him, hey, use this and it works, that shit drives me up a wall.
have you ever exercised vengeance?
Like, I used to love to get revenge. This is something that's changed.
I feel it
recently in like the last 2 or 3 years. But like anyone who like any friends that know me, when they comment when this comes out, they're like, yeah, you used to be really spiteful. But it's not worth it in the end. But I'm 39 now. At 23, I don't want to hear that. I'm like, if you cross me, I'm going to cross you back 4 times. But after a while, it's not worth it. And then I'm learning too, the kinder you are to people, the more giving you are, the blessings come in even faster. Because like, a lot of times I cut off blessings, relationships, or people would be afraid to be around because they didn't know what the reaction could be if they crossed me. So there were certain relationships that I lost in the interim.
Does a part of you like being feared?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
That's the ego in you, huh?
Yes.
Oh, I'm an egomaniac too. That's why when I see it in other people, I'm like,
can
you're one of me.
Take one to know
Hell
one.
yeah, it takes one to know one, bitch.
Absolutely.
Like, I know, I can smell it. I'm like, But what the Bible shows us, not to bring back to the Bible, but it's my source text, right? Is that you spot it, and you can either use it for good or you could use it for evil. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And the Bible tells us again also is that a lot of predominantly men who did use it for good always fall. Even if they did have a history of good. Yeah. It's so interesting, like even theologically speaking, how we're almost like wired to fall. You know? Yeah. And it's almost like it's like a intrinsically a part of our makeup is.
Why do you think that is? Honestly.
I think it comes from the beginning of man. And I think that we are so unwise if we aren't guided. And it's so easy for us to consciously choose to be unguided because it's a lot easier to be there.
Absolutely.
It's a lot easier not to like face yourself, not to face your actual truths, not to face truth, not to face God. It's a lot easier. It's I spent a lot of time there, and it's a lot more uncomfortable to face yourself. and to face mortality and to think about like what is my last thought going to be before I pass? That people don't want to think about that.
That's true.
I do. Yeah. And how could I make it the most easeful for myself? I've never had anyone ask me that before. But given the nature of this show, I've had to kind of unpack certain things and unpack how I'll be honest with you. You kind of like, I don't know where I'm going with this, and I don't want to be dishonest with you. I kind of lost my train of thought, but only because you kind of like shocked me a little bit. I like that. Keep doing that. That's cool.
As a Christian, what do you think the purpose of life is?
Is this Bible Stories with Ian?
Come on.
What's the purpose of life? The purpose of life. That's such a, I mean, what kind of question is that?
It's complex and simple.
How am I going to answer that?
Honestly, that's what answer anything.
Say it again.
What do you believe as a Christian is the purpose of life?
I think the purpose of life is actively pursuing God. Now I can also spin that. I can also say that in another way. Like I think that another tentacle of purpose is rooted in family, and people are forgetting it. I see it all the time. People forget.
Social,
and I as people as I. Like I've been there. I've done it. I see it. But the more I come, the more embedded in the word I become. I say embedded because I literally feel like I'm embedded during my devotional hours. I realize just how meaningless life is if we don't like support our family. So I would say that a tentacle of purpose is definitely rooted in family. And I'm stealing this from Jordan B. Peterson. I am not smart enough to come up with this, but I also think part of it is building order in your chaos, because that is something that will be around for every era, every window in your life. How do you find order within the chaos? I remember he did an interview on the H3 podcast. And when he said that, I said, that's such a clinical,
cold, stoic.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm not that way. I am such a wordy, give me words, give me textures, give me poems, But when he said that, I said, that's kind of in the same vein of what all of us is. But what do you think? Like, what kind of question is that? Why would you ask me that?
I want to know your perspective, because in this day and age, not many people are even comfortable holding the shield of Christ and even stamping that you're a believer. So I wanted to know from your perspective, like what you think it is. Even with the family part, like people are so caught up in social and fame and notoriety. And it's like, shit, fuck family. Like I want to be popping on IG or TikTok.
Have you been rich your whole life?
No, I was broke as hell for the majority of my life. Really? What? Broke. Like lost my debit card in the mall.
Where are you from?
East Chicago, Indiana. So I grew up 5 minutes from Gary when it was the murder capital.
Wow.
Yeah, it's different.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I got one brother.
One brother? Older, younger?
Younger, 5 years younger.
Okay. Is he single? Sorry. Now.
He's active.
And I am celibate, so no gracias. Were you ever, oh God, the death of young Dolph really freaking messed me up. Tough. When every time I'm like, can we just eradicate gangs? Damn it. But it's like, I understand the fraternity aspect of it. I mean, I can understand that. But growing up, were you involved with gangs? Or?
No, but I have friends that tough family who was in the streets. Like that's why
what kept you from that?
My dad. My dad was in the streets. He's like, if you get in the streets, I'll kill you.
He was in the streets. What does that mean?
He was in the streets. Those who know what I'm saying. Yeah. So he was like, if you get in, and I'll sacrifice too much for you to be here. If you want to be in the streets and play thug life, let me just kill you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that is scary. And
but going back to the tough love, I think if you really care for someone, you should go out of your way to do whatever you need to get the message across. And I knew, I'm like, he wasn't playing. I'm like, okay. And then, but my dad, that was so tough for them. Like my grandma and granddad had 8 kids. Their name was Granddaddy John and Grandma Katie, so they were the original John and Kate plus 8.
LOL,
right?
yeah.
No bullshit. Like, and then, so I remember my granddad being, I'm like, why are you always like so on edge when you come home? He was like, I work all day. I have to take care of 8 kids. The least I can have is like the first piece of food that comes out, because all of my money goes out to family. So I've learned to appreciate those sacrifices. So my dad was like, hey, if I sacrifice this for you, how can you go here when I did it and made way for a better life for you?
Okay.
It's different. And all my friends, like, I'm 39 now. Between family and friends, I probably have lost 35 people. Probably.
Name them. No, sorry. Oh, bad joke. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I don't know why.
That was funny though.
I don't know why
But
I do
20
that.
to like streets and
I'm sorry.
streets, drugs, or like one of my best friends, like when did Gary get shot? Probably was like 14, 15. Like one of my best friends in high school, double murder at like 16, 17. Like, it's different. Yeah.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, senor.
Mm-hmm.
How have you dealt with grief? Who are you?
You just, I don't know.
How have you dealt with grief? Have you found?
I don't have great coping skills with it, to be honest. But it would happen so frequently. Like at one point, I was like, my family must be cursed, because like one year, someone on my dad's side would die, then the next year on my mom's side, and then. But the streets are the streets. Like, you know, when you are involved in certain activity, like what the outcome is. So you kind of learn to accept it. My friend Gary, he had or Abel now. He was like, when him and his friend.
He went from Gary to Abel?
Yeah, because he's an Israelite. Yeah.
Got it.
So when his friend got shot, he was in a car with him. He was like, we were so used to people being shot, like we wouldn't even refer to them as human when they got shot. Like, we need to get up, move the body, leave the scene. Then it was like almost military.
Wait. Hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can't just say that. Hold on. You've touched a carcass before, a dead body.
Yeah, and friends, and yeah, like when I grew up, like,
What's a dead body feel like?
stiff, cold. Like, it's not like people, even in video games and movies and stuff like that, right? And for context, like, this was his story, but like when you're around death, it does something to your soul. Like, so my grandma Rose, she had me in church all the time. Like, shout out to everybody at St. Luke. I love y'all.
Hey.
I know I curse too much, but I love y'all. Forgive
all
me. God's
good.
not done with me.
I mean, it's not good. We shouldn't be.
Yeah, that's true. I'm
Understood.
working on improving. But it does something to your spirit, especially if you have experience in church and with God, and then you come to see the other side. It does something to you. So, but you know, I mean, my story is no different than anybody else that grew up in the 90s, or if you go to Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Bronx, it's all the same thing. Like, culturally, we understand it, but.
So do you feel like you carry it with you? I always find it weird, or not weird. Thankfully, I'm fortunate that I haven't experienced an immediate passing. My parents have, but extended. And anytime I hear discussions surrounding grief, mortality consciousness is
Huge.
It's huge, and it's also my favorite. I really don't know what it is. I feel like I'm rooted in it. It roots me. It grounds me. It doesn't scare me. It interests me. I think it makes my life exciting.
Yeah.
When people say with grief, like, getting over it, I'll get over it. Or how do I get over it? Get over it. And if I lost a family member that I haven't, I would never get over it.
I think when people say get over it, they're trying to cope. But if you actually think that you can, it's someone that you didn't care about enough. And I didn't know that until I lost my grandmother. So now, like, at one point, like, my grandmother was like my mother. So when I lost her, it was like, a part of you dies with them. So even when I talk to my mom, I'm like, how are you? She's like, and my grandma passed in 2016. She's like, I'm finally getting better. Like, the part of you passes with them, like when you love them so much. So when people are like, hey, I got over it, or it's been a year, I'm like, you didn't really care about them how you say that you did. Because if you really cared, a part of you would shudder with their passing as well. Yeah.
You said that she was like your mom. Where was your mom?
My mom was there, but it's like things were my mom and dad were young when they had me. They were 20 and 22. So in hindsight, I'm like, I'm 39 now. Xander's 6. I'm like, I just got my shit together like 3 years ago. Like, I could not imagine being a parent at 24, 25 and trying to figure out how to raise 2 kids and coexist and parent and, you know.
Did your grandma get to see you amass some kind of like sizable success? Did she get to see it?
Yeah, she was like seeing like when it was really starting to take off.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think like, again, this is the cons of mortality. Sometimes I ruminate too much, romanticize. It normally happens when I'm the most like manic.
Yeah.
But I was thinking like, gosh, I hope my parents stick around like to watch something. I hope something happens. Like,
it's already happening.
Well, not to my mom and dad.
The thing I will say to parents, and it's always tough because they have a dream for us. I would tell all parents, whether a child is where you want them to be or not has a lot to do with you, but they don't want to admit that because parents think they never do anything wrong. And also you have to give your child enough space to be them. I've found the people that I know that are really successful, their parents were their biggest cheerleaders. Like, they brainwash their kids into being like, you can knock down a mountain with a crayon. And it's like, sometimes if you see even in Kanye and Elon and Gary Vee, shout out to him.
You know him?
He helped me in some small ways. Yeah. So I'll say the things that I see in them, their parents believed in them so much. It was like their parents were like a cult to them that made them feel like they can do anything. And a lot of times growing up, especially in a bad environment, a lot of the self-limiting beliefs come from our households. So we have to be careful, like, to take the anchoring that parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, family members may have. Like, even my uncle hates when I say it, but even when I got into investing, he was like, you think you're going to be Warren Buffett and do all this stock shit? I'm like, Warren Buffett? I'm like, who's Warren Buffett?
He's like, Buffett.
And I'm like, but that was his view, because in the 1960s and 70s, I was like, it was impossible for anybody Black to invest in the market at scale, let alone help people and then do well from it. So a lot of times their self-limiting beliefs are from the era in which they came, and then they're projecting that on us.
So much. They project. Yeah. Dude, my dad texted me last night. I tweeted this. Follow me. That's Brianda. And so my dad texted me, said, my dad calls me Cacha. He goes, hi, Cachita. I subscribed to your YouTube channel. I was like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, Dad. Finally. Thanks. He goes, how many subscribers you got? Oh, not many. And I went, Dad, I'm growing. It'll happen. And he goes, why don't you tell him to subscribe, Bri? You shouldn't have this little. And I'm just like, oh, okay, that's what I grew up like with. Where is that text? He is like, and my mom is the same way.
Yeah.
She with the show, she'll be like, oh, when is it going to convert to like money? Like, that's her first thing. And I've realized that I've had to, in my new budding relationship with Christ, I'm still a babe in the faith. I feel like an infant. I feel, because I've never been loved in this way. That's how you know that that's another kind of love. Like, your parent, they say parents love their kids unconditionally. I don't believe it. And I'm telling you, my mom has told me. I've written songs about it. My mom has definitely expressed like some like really negative, it hurts, you know?
Did our
but it's
parents
also
do
honest.
Did the same thing happen with her parents?
Can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
Non sequitur. But you want to know what bone I have to pick with my parents? Is that it felt like growing up, they weren't even interested in me. They weren't even interested in even getting to know me. They were interested in getting me from A to B, but not once did they ask me, like, hey, what do you like? You know?
It was different in that era, though.
Right. And I also think when they were raised and born in like developing countries, a third world country, DR, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
When you're trying to survive, you don't have room for emotion. Like, even with my parents, like, my dad told me this like 3 years ago. He was like, our family never hugged. It's 8 of them. They never hugged until the second Christmas that we had at my grandmother. So this is in 84. Like, think culturally. Like, when you're trying to survive, there's almost no room for emotion. And then we weren't taught, like I said, generational wealth, everyone talks about it. But if we aren't taught how to love and how to parent, there is no room for generational wealth.
How do you break it?
We have to start here, like start with friends, family, fellowship. And then I had to as well, so it takes one to know one. You have to forgive. Have to. It's tough as hell. And I know out the inside you're like, I don't want to hear that.
You got the formula?
Day by day. Like, once, put yourself in their shoes and to see what they were going through at that time. Because my dad was like, hey, imagine being 20. Then I'm 22 with, like, or 25 with 2 kids, no job. I had to figure it out and no support. And everyone's like, either you're going to fail or you're not, but you still got to take care of the kids. What do you have to do? I'm like, now this is pre-internet, pre-Instagram. So it's not as easy to make money. Your back is against the wall. So once I started to see things, or even my granddad, God rest his soul, my granddad was in a war. He got injured in a war real bad. Came back and...
Which war? I'm sorry if I exposed a blind
Vietnam
spot.
One of those, Vietnam, Korean War, one of those, right? Because he had some little kids. That,
okay.
You know, half black, half Asian. Anyway.
Half black, half Asian? Are you half black, half Asian?
Just,
I'm noticing some little Asian. Is that inappropriate? Oh my gosh.
No.
I'm noticing. I was also going to say.
If it is, cut it out.
I'm noticing some Asian here.
Yeah, cut that out.
Clara, do I look fat?
No, you look great.
Okay, sorry. Interrupted you. I'm vain.
No, you're good. And he came back from the war, and my grandma Chris was like very fair skinned, like she could pass for white. Married a white guy. My dad was telling me this stuff. I'm like, why is Granddaddy John like so cold? He's like, he's not cold. Like, you don't know what he's been through. Got hurt from the war, came back, injured. And her husband was like, your son can't stay in my house because he's black.
What?
Like, he told me that, and I was like, are you kidding me? That shit broke my soul. Like, so like, Grandma Chris is half black, half white, but her son couldn't occupy the house that he was in with his mother because of racial divide. I can't imagine what that would do to change a person. And a lot of times I feel like our elders don't tell these stories because they may be too painful.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like time is passing me. I feel like I'm like at a race for the clock. Like when it comes to, especially my parents, because I'm thinking about them after. I mean, I'm 28 now, and I'm thinking already about how I'm going to take care of them. My parents, when they came to this country, for example, my mom, when she came to this country, she could have been, had her own practice in DR, had a different life. She wanted to give us a different kind of life, which meant she was no longer where she was in DR. Here, she was at the bottom. And my dad was like, un bandido. He was from, he's the opposite. He was not born with money. He was just born with, he was a musician. His family's a bunch of musicians. That's how I sing. Like my dad's line, the Agramonte line is where you get this.
Got you.
And, but it equaled broke coming to this country. And hearing you talk about that, it's the same way they don't talk about. It would be so beneficial for the next generation to hear about how they got out of their predicament. I could not even imagine. Think about this. Sometimes it's so nutty to think, or not nutty, but my parents came to this country. They did not know the language. My dad got robbed so many times here to the point where like my mom, my dad, and my sister, because I wasn't around yet, she's older than me, they wouldn't eat. They would have one meal a day. My dad would have to split. My dad would have to get like one chicken nugget and give the rest to his baby and like my mom.
Sacrifice,
And these are things that I'm knowing now, and it's because I have to pry. But even then it takes, well, not my mom, but just my dad. My dad's a little warmer, right? But like I can't get anything out of her. But the things that I do know and that I've weaseled information out of other people, I'm like, wow, if I had known this, it would have changed my perspective on, it would have given me more patience with them, less resentment. Oh, resentment is literally the kiss of death when it comes to any kind of like developing relationships. I noticed that like even the way I interact with men, I'm talking to this guy I'm really into right now, the first guy I've been into in years. And I realize that anytime we get vulnerable, I'll unconsciously make excuses to get off the phone.
Why? You afraid?
You did the thing again.
Take your time. You like my little Oprah moment? I didn't know this was
You
going to be
are.
therapy, but
I know. I guess I need this.
we both do.
Anytime he says something that makes me have to be vulnerable and drop the act, I get scared. Yeah. Or like I feel like, oh, if they see me, they'll find out. Like, oh, I'm actually not who you think I am, sort of thing.
Who do you think that he
thinks that I am? Like, I don't know, Brianda, the Bible girl. I don't know. And I don't even think he wants that. He's so when he speaks, he's such a great thinker. That's the best. And it's scary to have someone say something that's disarming and,
Does he light up for you the same way you're lighting up now about him?
Oh my God, I hope he doesn't watch this. Oh my God.
I hope he does.
Clara, cut this out, Clara.
No, keep this in.
Hey, Christian babes in the faith. Are you tired of forgetting commandment numbers 3, 4, 7, 9, and 10 anytime you rip shots of tequila? Are you tired of forgetting Jesus at home because he doesn't fit into your club bag, you whore? You've had it with being a naughty sinner. But wait, there's a solution. Introducing the Baby Jesus Hotline. The latest, most effective tool for sinful behavior prevention. It's simple. Just place the tiny phone in your hoe bag or in between your bosoms before you leave the house. And don't you even think about putting baby Jesus on Do Not Disturb. The microscopic Jesus Hotline will automatically play the sound of trumpets at 1,000 decibels to alert you that you are about to sin. Holy moly, that is loud. Baby Jesus. Salvation is just a phone call away. What was the question you just asked?
Does he light up for you the same way you're lighting up for him right now?
I think so. And I think so. And I know it because it's not even a word. He's not someone who like says too much, but he's very tactful. We were going to do the book of Obadiah today. This is a prophet who wrote the shortest book in the Bible, 1 chapter, 21 verses. And that is so baller. Like, talk about BDE. Like the fact that you can be so profound and have so much tact in such little words. This is what this guy reminds me of. He says so much in little bit of words. I'm the opposite. Anywho, I think he does. And I notice it because he is that way. Very minimal words, very direct. I've noticed that sometimes when I catch him, right? Because I guess new relationships is kind of like sparring.
Yeah.
I notice that he kind of drops that. He'll be a little less he'll drop it. He'll use a little bit more words because he'll need it. Yeah. You can only go so far in the beginning. And right, this is the beginning, so we're still getting to know each other. When you begin to know each other, whether that be like a business relationship or a personal relationship, or romantic relationship, do you find that there's like a shift that happens where you go from like cordial to, I just dropped something, like something personal. Yeah. How are they going to take it?
Yeah.
It's scary. That's scary. That's what I'm saying. That's scary.
But that's a good space to be in because you're incredibly vulnerable here and with me. Like, if you think something could be there, give that your all.
But Ian, I think that's like, I'm not like that always because it's really easy for me to put back on the put the top hat and the cane.
Yeah.
But it's different with you. Have you always been that way? Also, hold on. I just really, really, really want to know this. Right. And it's been at the back of my mind. And if I don't get it out, it'll always be in the underpinning of our conversation. And I really need to ask, what did you do with your first big chunk of money?
Fucked it off. I blew it. Yeah.
Okay. How much was it?
I don't want to say the amount, but it
Why?
was an amount. Like,
I thought we were friends.
We are,
okay. Can you give me ballpark? Just so I'm a little babe. I don't know anything about money.
It's a few little coins. That's funny. It was a little bit.
Okay, like how many zeros?
More than 3, less than 6.
That's how I talk about how many people I've had sex with. I always say more than 5, okay. More than 5, less than 10, not 9.
Okay. That's
Solve
fair.
that riddle.
That's fair. But yeah, it was like I didn't grow up knowing what I know now. That's why I'm like so passionate about giving it and teaching and trying to help. But yeah, when I like who I am now, I wasn't at 21 or 22. Like I was in college, like wearing Versace and Prada and doing all like the material.
Versace?
Yeah, and being like all material. And because like when you feel a certain level of maybe emptiness on the inside, you want the exterior to make up for it and say, hey, look at me. And especially being black in this country, when you aren't seen by majority of the country, you go out of your way. That's why black people, loud music, loud cars, loud colors, very boisterous, because you want to at least be seen. Because the worst thing you can be to anyone is invisible. And then once you start to repair that and you say, hey, materialism doesn't matter, and then you work on yourself, the desire for like those material goods.
You don't feel invisible now.
Yeah, but I want to be seen less though.
You want to be seen less?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What?
Like now, like I've gotten a little bit of exposure, quote unquote.
Dude, let's
That
talk
shit is
about
overrated.
it. Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
overrated.
I feel that way. Why do you think fame is overrated? Because I think it's appropriately rated. I want money.
You think? I think you can get the money without the fame though.
You want to know what's really embarrassing? Having the fame and no money.
That's a recipe for this. I would hate to be in that spot. But the energy, you don't always receive positive energy, or people are I don't think it's healthy for anybody to interact with 2,000, 3,000 people online, 7,000 people
Agreed.
online. Like it's not healthy. So, and I think we were sold fame as an idea to make money for other corporations and to put us down this rabbit hole of commercialism and capitalism. And
we're fucked.
Yeah,
and when I say we're fucked, I mean like oh my gosh, when you see these kids on TikTok, they see that it is a viable stream of income. People are making careers left and right. I've never seen so many people want to be famous. And can I say something? I didn't know this until this year when I asked our Bible babes for like questions. I'll be like, or guest recommendations. That's what it was. And this is when I realized, oh snap. I think we all secretly, or a lot of people want to be on camera and they don't say it. A lot of people want this attention. Like I know what I got. I know my stuff, right? I know my skeletons, and I've been known that I wanted to be in front of the camera. It's never been a question. Now, I asked my listeners on Instagram on a public question. I said, give me your ideas for guests, whatever. I got 200 and some odd responses. I'm going to go ahead and say 100 of them used the same joke, which was me, LOL, just kidding. This is this person. LOL, me, I think I would be really fun. Me. But they kept saying, LOL, just kidding. LOL, just kidding. How many times am I going to get this where I'm like, this ain't a joke. No, I don't. I think that it's like, I think we've now, because of the advent of social media and the social discourse, the conversation surrounding it, I think a part of us yearns for that visibility a bit. But now that you have it, you just came off the Breakfast Club, got 1 million views in 2 days. Major. You were on Charlamagne's show, The God's Honest Truth.
I'm here with the good brother Kevin Hart, and we're both joined by a financial advisor and investment expert. Make some noise for the founder of Red Panda Academy, my guy, Mr. Ian Dunlap. Ian. Yes, sir. Now, Kev, you're a media mogul. Ian, you're known as the master investor, so I'm going to present you, Kev, with a few investment opportunities, and I want Ian to tell us if Kev is making the right move or not, okay?
Okay.
Sound good?
All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
With Kevin Hart, who is global.
Yeah.
How do you, like, you're there, you're in these spaces, Ian. So you're saying that you're uncomfortable with fame. Hate to break it to you.
Is an illusion. Fame is like that, and social media is the worst drug ever.
But you want it. You post. You're very active with your people.
I post for business reasons. I don't post to be seen. Here's another thing. Like for those of us that were like popular in real life, to be popular in high school and college, that means way more to me than I'm appreciative. Trust me. Like to be on Breakfast Club, amazing. It was a dream, right? So to even do the thing with Kevin and Charlamagne today, which, you said I was worthy, but I'm like, I shouldn't even be sitting here next to him, right? It's a blessing because I'm then able to to people who may not be secure on if my message is right, they validate what I've been saying. But fame for the sake of fame, like it was a lot of parties going on in New York. I told Alex and I'm like, yo, I want to hang with y'all. Like, I'm happy if we kick it here. We can go to McDonald's, Starbucks. Like, I don't need to be in a mixy party, being on a gram,
That's
going live. That's whack to me. But it goes back to when you don't have real fans, real family, real friends, you will chase the fame to then fill that void that you have on the inside. When you have real friends and real family, people that you care about.
Famous people with no faith scare me.
That's the majority of people. That's the majority of that audience.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you deal with nerves? Were you nervous as shit?
I was. Because like knowing how big of a star Kevin is not just
right, Kevin Hart.
Q score and all that, like his talent. So I'm like, I don't want to get on stage and just bomb and then he cracks on me for 5 fucking minutes. Like I've heard him go off on Jamie Foxx and I'm like, Jamie Foxx.
Jamie?
And Jamie's amazing. And Jamie can kick up. Yeah, so I'm like, boy, if I mess up and he crack on me, it's over. But he was very gracious. I was like, hey, any advice? He's like, just be you. If you stumble, I got you. I pick up like...
He probably would have cracked on you at another time. That man has been beaten.
Yeah.
I think that's humbling.
Yeah.
Like, talk about how many hiccups this man has had, how much embarrassing public
and canceled,
yeah, so like I feel like maybe Kevin Hart in the early 2000s maybe would have, but now I feel like he's changed. Yeah. Also, I think children change you. Absolutely. That's like, dude, you know what I've noticed about comedians? They have a very short shelf life for peak exposure. They go sour and they go sour quick. Yeah. It's not like a relationship that you have, or maybe it is like a relationship you have with, for example, Lady Gaga for me, major. But I feel like she caught me in a funnel, in a moment in time where I was at the right age, right time, right, and so was she. Yeah. And me and millions of other people share this shared experience. When Gaga is 70, we'll be going to the garden to see her, but other people won't know her. That happens, it's history, right? With comedians, however, I don't feel like there's that kind of tenure or that tenured relationship, because as the comedian changes, their comedy is no longer what it used to be in that funnel. Yeah. That funnel that I'm talking about, that peak. So it's hard for them to acquire new and diverse audiences after a certain amount of time. Now, someone who's been really dope at doing it has been obviously Dave Chappelle. Yeah. And I'm still trying to figure out what exactly it is that makes him different, but but he's still falling into my theory because I don't like him anymore. And no, hold on. What I'm saying is, and maybe it's a generational thing, I don't know. I understand his GOAT status. He is brilliant. Yeah. Like, I don't even think of him as a comedian anymore, though. He's like, I don't know. I don't even watch his stuff anymore, if I'm being honest.
Why?
It's boring.
You think so?
Okay, I'm inundated with social commentary everywhere I go. It seems like that's all it is now. Social commentary.
As you get older, you care about this stuff more.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. I think that maybe the people that were in the funnel with him, they'll graduate with him. Yeah. But it's much harder to like garner a new audience when it comes to comedy, especially. But anywho, when you were around Kevin Hart, I really want to ask this because the way I deal with famous people, the famous is what I call them. They're so unusual. I notice that in fame when I go to parties and they're famous people, they like their posture's different. They start talking weird.
They're in character constantly.
Well, yeah. But also, I've never met anyone that I really care. Like, I'm only going to be nervous around Dolly Parton, Howard Stern, Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
Oh, they're all white. I know.
No, that's interesting.
I get it.
Mix.
Those three. If I met them, I know. So hi Tangy, not hi Tangy. Hi Tangy is something I say. I'm not going to explain it. I'll explain it to you off mic because I don't want to tell the people. You have to find out. My coping skills for nerves, I'm convinced were the reason why the first 5 years of my acting career didn't go anywhere. Because I was a bad auditioner. I was not a bad actor. Okay. I really don't believe so. I feel like my emotional economy is probably my strength. But I'm nerves get me. Yeah. Like I'm talking about like I'll shit all day. I get like the nervous shits and it'll mess with you. Like how can you be in a scene when your booty hole is burning?
What gives you anxiety around like the preparation? Because we were talking about routines for a second. Like do you have like a methodology or routine that you follow?
Now I do.
Yeah. But before
and
you didn't?
In terms of auditioning? Yeah. And a lot of it is beat it to a pulp preparation and then throw it out. Like, that's what I've learned. It's like so much of auditioning. And again, I audition mostly theatrical TV film. I'm sure stage is different. But I've noticed that I need to be so familiar with who this person is, how they grew up, did they go to church or not, were their family, was both parents there, how did they go to school, did they go to college? I need to be so familiar and in tune with what they are. I do all that before, and then I legitimately throw it out. I remember a mistake I made being a younger actor was I was so bogged down by the words and giving the casting director what they want, like, here, please take me here. And I've realized now that I don't give a fuck anymore now. I'm kind of, now that I know that podcasting is my bag, I've been kind of like, all right, it's been helping my auditions.
Absolutely.
Being so less desperate. There's this casting director at, I won't say, she's a network executive. And she said something really dope. And she said, if someone were to come to you, bring you a tray of cookies, and they present them to you and they go, here you go, I made you cookies. And you take it, oh, wow, great, thank you. And then you tell them, try one and tell me what it is. That's uncomfortable. Why don't you know what cookie you're giving me? That's kind of how it is with acting. Why don't you know yourself enough to present it? It's uncomfortable and it reads as desperation. And I think that's why casting direct, that's what sets apart someone who has it and someone who hasn't, who doesn't have it. That it is them. What do they bring into this role? And like, I guess that's kind of like in everything though.
Yeah, same with dating. Like if a guy goes up to you and like, oh my God, I would love, but he's nervous as hell. You're like, get your creepy ass away from me.
I feel that.
It's the same thing.
I dealt with that not too long ago. He was so nervous and I could feel it. And it makes me feel like, wait.
What's wrong?
What? No, it makes me feel like, is there something on my teeth? Like it makes me, that energy is like, oh no, if you're not sure of yourself, that is the number one thing that makes any girl so turned off. What, I have so many questions. Okay. I am someone who has pretty traditional and conservative ideals of the husband-wife dynamic. Like, of course, I am a humble girl, I like to think, but I know I want a big house one day. I know what kind of life I want to live. I know I want my pantry to be filled with like luxury face care, skincare. I know that that's going to be the first thing I buy. The second I get my first bag, I just want to get every single like skincare product that I want. That's like the number one thing I want. Now, I am not afraid to say that I don't want to be the person that like pays for our house. Like I want to be taken care of, but even if I'm able to, it's like beyond that. How do you feel about this new age, like feminism, where if I'm going to say this and women are going to have a problem with it and I don't care.
Yes,
like,
they're going to be so mad.
Oh, I don't, here's the thing. I don't care because I know that I'm not insecure about my understanding of the roles of a husband and wife for me. And also in my religion. My religion tells me that. Sorry, the men are to be providers. And I don't find that, like, for example, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to one day build a podcast studio in my house. I say this to Clara every other week. I want to raise a baby.
Until then, we shall record in WTF Media.
Oh, but of course. Oh, well, listen, I don't even have a boyfriend yet, let alone a baby. But I have a vision, right? And I think this new age feminism, it's kind of demeaning the role of a stay-at-home mother. Or like it's not a real responsibility. They don't know that.
It's the biggest responsibility
in the world. Why wouldn't my husband want me to be at home with our child, taking care of our child, managing the house? That's probably arguably more important. Because again, I'm going to make money regardless. But I always feel uncomfortable when I talk about, femininity and masculinity and where I reside. I just have a feeling that you're someone who wants to take care of the house. Do you want your why aren't you married?
I'm very particular in what I want, and I haven't found that yet.
What do you want?
Peace.
What do you want from a woman?
Peace.
That's funny.
Most women have everything else but that part. Especially for any man that is doing okay, I need to know we'll be good. You'll be faithful. As I ascend and provide that you're comfortable.
Does your girl need to be rich?
No. I mean, if she's with me, she's going to be good anyway.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Sure,
like, what are we even talking about?
I get all the rest of like, and I'm not, I have an issue, like, and this is twofold. Like, I think a lot of women want to get the bag now on their own, which they should, because when men were supposed to take care of women, they were busy having kids with other people and fucking off the money, truth be told. Or they would treat women like slaves because they had all access to the money for
Oh, yes.
decades.
They weaponized that power,
Absolutely.
for sure.
So I get that. But I think the imbalance that we have now is by design. I think, and I have no issue with the brother, but I think the whole red pill movement and Kevin Samuels, that was put here by design.
What do you mean? I'm unfamiliar.
So like the high value man, if I make more than 100K, you should treat me like a king no matter what happens. And then women on the opposite side saying, I don't need a man. I think that's done by design so we're not bonding as a family anymore. I think that's very intentional.
I feel like,
Yeah, that's very
Do
intentional.
you think we're not going to have, like, no one wants to have kids anymore? If it's
Or
almost
family.
Mm.
Or family.
The idea of family. So you think that it's by design.
Absolutely. Because if there's less
So
families,
sad.
there's less organization to take over. Like, think of every major luxury brand that we like. And I tell my friends all the time, loved Versace, loved Prada. Those are all family. So as a black man to wear a Italian family on my chest, I think there's a little bit of misalignment there. So in order to be worthy, you have to wear another family's crest on your body.
Huh.
It's a lot of layers to it. And then when you truly have, let's take social media. If you, and we see it with them all the time, like how well they vibe and the love they have for each other. If people have family, you're not going to spend all that time on social media. So if people are focusing on getting a bag and all the attention on the social media companies are monetizing that. If we have families, you want to be with your family and have downtime and be off the grid and make love to your wife or husband. That's done by design so they can monetize us on these apps and media platforms.
Okay. Attractive. You dress well. Successful. On TV. Have all these budding business ventures. You're 39.
Mm-hmm.
When is it going to happen?
When the right person at the right time comes.
Are you in a relationship right now?
Mm-hmm.
Is it her?
At this moment, no.
Okay.
Yeah, at this moment, no. Getting close. There's a couple things to work out. And we're both responsible for it, but...
I just had a high walk with one of my closest friends. We used to bartend together.
Yeah. What the hell is a high walk? I don't know. What's that?
Oh, going on long walks smoking?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I don't know if there's like a bridge in New York or something. like...
A high walk. And he had just left a relationship of 7 years. And he told me about how he went ring shopping in 2017. And I asked him, why didn't you pull through? What happened? I'm also friends with that girl, too. And he said that there was, she didn't want to have kids.
My best friend just went through that, and he was married. That's all I'll say. I can't say anymore because I don't want.
Okay. Yeah, it's not your business to tell.
Yeah.
But that is so big, and it wasn't even that because he had loved this woman and was ring shopping, so he was obviously thinking she could have been it. But anytime that conversation would come up, all she would do was try and buy more time. Like the conversation would to keep him. She was feeding him the same rhetoric, but he had been
the same friends. In another year, maybe after.
Yes, and then at one point, so after a valiant effort of trying to repair, it was beyond repair.
Sometimes you miss your moment.
Yeah.
Everything's about timing.
Yeah. Well, when do you know? Like, do you think part of it, or like, do you think you'll ever not, do you think there'll be a point where you'll think that you have it, but you may not? I don't even think that's, the way you describe it is like, you're not ready yet. You're waiting for some things to be in alignment, I'm assuming. But what if it never feels like that and you just have to take a plunge?
I think we all know, if we're honest, when sometimes like we all have done like.
Yeah, but with love, you can't be so cautious.
Why?
Because love is unpredictable. Love is uncertain. Well, hey, you don't believe so? Mm-mm. I think that the uncertainty is what makes love so divine.
Is your love that you get from God uncertain?
No, my uncertainty I give to him.
Okay.
But it's not.
I think love should be stable, kind, consistent.
It's very idealistic. My Bible tells me that that's not the way life is.
Oh, yeah, that's not
right. Right. So I'm trying to look at this from a realistic point of perspective.
A lot of realism, too, is what we choose as well.
What does that mean?
Like whatever.
A philosopher you are.
No, but it's true. Like if we look at everything that, like, let's take The Secret, which is a remix of like the Bible and Proverbs, right? Or at scale.
The secular books.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what we choose to accept in our lives are things that we said first. So like one of my best friends and I was having this conversation. Like even growing up, we weren't trained or taught to say, hey, I want to have a great wife, great marriage, great family relationship. It was like, just find someone who can have a kid with that you get along with. And after a while, like me and one of my friends, Dom, was like, we got what we asked for. Like Xander's mom, even when she pisses me off, like I never have to worry.
That's your kid, Alexander?
Xander, Xander. Yeah. I never have to worry about if his mom is doing the right thing for him. But I didn't say this is who I need to be with in a relationship, have the best relationship ever, and have child with. Like I was very clear. So I'm big on manifestation.
Are you with the mother of your? Okay. No. You guys have a co-parenting relationship.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
It was tough for a while, but
what's it like being a parent?
Amazing. To him, amazing.
To him, what do you mean?
To Xander, to being a parent.
I thought you had two. Why are you only picking one?
Only got one.
Oh, I thought you had two. I was like, what happened to the other kid?
No.
What did he do?
I'm good. Like he's so I don't know if I can have another kid because I don't know if I can love someone as much as I love him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bah, humbug. Sorry, I had to interrupt the show. Look, are you tired of not knowing what stocks to invest in? Or even where to begin? Then join the Red Panda Stock Club, babes. Started by Ian Dunlap, or as we all know him as the Master Investor, or from his contributions every week with Earn Your Leisure. There are a lot of people talking about investing, but none of them have the track record that Ian has. The proof is in the pudding. He called to invest in Moderna at 43 in April of 2020, and now it's at 408, which is an 820% return. Once you join the Red Panda Stock Club, here's what you'll get. The 4 best stocks to invest in for long term, the best entries on the planet, a year's worth of the best companies to invest in, the worst companies to stay away from, unlimited access to Red Panda for 365 days, and lastly, you also get a weekly meeting from Ian and the Red Panda family every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central, Aftermarket Mondays. Baby, if you're tired of getting your behind kicked in the market, or simply want to learn where to begin with all the tools at your disposal, Red Panda is the place for you. Go to joinredpanda.com and enter the code BIBLE to get 50% off the next 2 weeks. It's easy as that, babes. Clara, grab the champagne. Back to the show. Very, very mechanical you are, sir.
Have to be. As a man, I have to be.
We're like water and oil, right? Like, we are so different.
my lens as a man is different than yours because the penalties for me, I can't afford to be emotional. My main focus is him. So I have to do things in like a routine way. And also too, when I was very emotional, things didn't go for me the way that I wanted them to.
Hi, that's where I feel like I'm looking at the potential of me and like where I'm at. This is the before and this is the after, hopefully.
You're already there.
Stop saying no.
No. You have to realize that you already worthy. And same thing I tell Al, step into your greatness. You deserve this shit. Before you can't, then I was like, she's a star. Mm-hmm. Like, not just, ask him.
Okay, I don't want to.
Enough to eat.
I get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I get uncomfortable with
Why?
that.
I'm going to tell you like my grandmother told me, if you believe in God how you say you do.
I do.
Then you have to, for all Christians, the main reason why people don't want to be Christian, because they don't see many Christians embody the success that they feel that they want.
A lot of rich Christians are quiet, for sure.
Yeah, so if there are more dope boys who get into the bag and more fuck boys get into the bag, why would I go to church when the perception is you don't have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to change that.
So you have to change it.
I get so many messages. So so many people have found a restored sense of meaning, I guess is the lack of word, by the word. And they're dissuaded by picking it up because they see other things that are a lot sexier, a lot more sensational, a lot more. And then they're talking about purpose. So you have that group talking so much and so boldly about purpose, and it doesn't give this guy the shine that it not only deserves, it's not even deserves, it's where it belongs.
Yeah.
Of course, this is my source text. Of course, I feel that way. I'm a Christian, and I'm sure that Muslims feel that way for the Quran. Yeah. We all have, I'm aware. I have so much respect for religious people because I understand. Like my conversation, I have a landlord who is a Hasidic Jew, and we talk. He knows about my podcast, and I be hitting him with some like Old Testament things. Sometimes I test him, and he don't know, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And there's this understanding of that internal knowledge being so sacred and meant to be shared, and I don't think a lot of us are sharing it. Wow. And we're only sharing it in a very insular way. We're sharing it with one another. We're not sharing it. I had someone on my TikTok critique me. He said, look at your page. It's riddled with world. It's like, look at what you're doing, being satirical with the word of God. How dare you? All this other stuff. I went on his page and I followed him. And
because you're petty like that.
Let me tell you something. He was doing the same thing Bible's doing. In fact, he was going in order in his TikTok, like we're going in order on YouTube, in chronological reading order. I went through all 62 of his
you're petty
TikToks.
Like me.
I liked it. And then I commented on the last one that had 0 comments and 3 views. And I said, wouldn't you want Jesus to be promoted and have there be a little bit more comments down here?
Well played.
We're doing the same things. We want the same things, I guess. We're doing it in different ways. Yeah. And he blocked me. And I thought to myself, well, what do you know?
Yeah. People love to dish it, but can't take it.
Yeah. I did nothing. All I did was I followed the guy.
Yeah. You were being petty, though, because it takes one to know.
Of course I was.
You know?
But I wanted him to follow me back. We would have been friendly. But a lot of times when I do things like that, it actually is the opposite. Like we actually, I find that because... Yes, because of what I wear, because of the way I speak, and I understand there's a little bit of I get it. I swear sometimes I understand. I'm not the cookie cutter. I get it. And
the cookie cutter is a lie, though.
I believe so.
Cookie cutter Christian?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We don't know what goes on. I'm trying to
be myself. We just don't say it.
Right.
Deacon and Sharisa, and up front, we know. We just don't want to say anything.
We know what you're doing. Stop it.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to be as honest as possible on here. I'm trying to be myself in public and private. Yeah. So I do. If I stub my toe, I swear. Like I'm working on it. Like I'm trying. Ultimately, what I'm saying is, if we work together, like me and the evangelist, the like super conservative evangelist, you could actually help me. I bet you your understanding and your pedigree when it comes to the Lord's word is probably stronger than mine. You could be helping. We could be helping each other.
You want me to tell you the truth?
Hit me.
Most evangelicals don't want to help others or the people. They want to be Christ.
Go on.
There's nothing like most preachers, and I know they're gonna get upset. Most preachers don't even preach the word of God. They preach their interpretation of, because they want to be seen.
This man.
That's all of social media. Like everyone wants to be like the guy or the girl with all the attention. Even like when people are like, oh, you should do this for the culture, and I'm like, man, a culture like the streets is a myth. It doesn't exist.
Woo!
Like there is no real black culture.
Okay. Hold on now.
Yeah, and church culture too. Everyone puts on a show. Now, this is the other part why people have in droves left Christianity. Most Christians don't behave like Christians. I have a lot of people that are in the streets. I've never seen the backstabbing and conniving shit that I've seen in the church in the streets ever.
I'm so sorry about that.
That's real. That's everywhere. Ask any person why they don't go to church. That's the people inside the church.
Let me say something right now. I have not found my church home, and it's not because of that. Although albeit I've heard of things like that. You hear it all the time.
Most churches don't feel like home.
And they feel like orphanages. But churches are so important. A place of worship collectively, when it's right, it's right.
Magical. Like, it's rare now.
You know, my listeners don't know something about me, and this is something new. I haven't been baptized yet. And my mom and I'm dying to, like I want to so badly. And I know that's the next step.
Yeah.
I won't do that if I don't have a church home, because that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to randomly, even though my mom says, no, Brianda, you can just do it. And I understand why some people say that. And I understand because in the text, it does say, you know, you can go anywhere and get.
That's true.
But I don't want that. I want community. I want, like, if anything, I feel like I used to think that that's where I was going to meet my husband. Like, Clara had to check me one day because I was telling her we were at our hangout spot after here. And I had been telling her that I was at the club with my girl Weezy. Shout out Weezy.
Shout out Weezy. I love
and oh God, that girl's changed my life. Can you believe someone who has so much favor on me? Sometimes I'm suspicious. I'm like, what do you want from me?
Good person.
She's just really great. Yeah. Pin on Weezy. But I was telling her we were at this club and this guy was like hitting on me, and then he was whatever. I believe that Clara maybe have asked. She asked, "Oh, well, would you date him or something?" And I went, "Ugh, I would never date someone I met at the club." And I just like saw her wince her face a little bit. And
Clara's gonna keep it real. That's the thing I love about it. Like,
are you kidding me? Come on. That's her. What do I always say to you? It's her honesty.
Yeah.
I only keep honest people around me. I have to. I'm too. I need someone. You know.
To ground you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But she winced, and I already knew that wince was enough. It's like, you hypocritical ass bitch. What are you doing at the club?
Yeah.
You think your husband's gonna want to be at the club? I may have said it, but she said it with her face because I knew exactly what it was. And I thought to myself, damn, that's another act of a Christian being a hypocrite, which I think happens a lot.
We all are at times, so.
Are you hypocritical sometimes?
Yeah.
About what?
Being peaceful. I want peace, but sometimes I cause disturbances. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Me too.
I want you to be peaceful to me, but.
Are you a gambling man?
No.
You don't gamble?
It's too broke for too long to gamble.
You also said you were debt free.
Yeah.
Wow. How are you debt free? And isn't debt important?
For those who sell the debt to you, yes. But for us, no.
Why are you so against debt?
When I had debt, it felt like a monster that was behind me. It's something that never came off of my mind. And also, like, debt is a mechanism of control. So if I'm, like when Kanye was going crazy the first time, right, in public, notice the correlation of how much did he, 300 million in debt, and when he calmed down and he got out of debt, how much calmer he was after. And for Black and brown people more than ever, we don't have these conversations openly. But one of the biggest issues that we have in our family is how much money we do or don't have. So the more debt that we have, I feel like people use it as a mechanism of control. Yeah.
It is, and I'll tell you something. At least for me, it's just been looming. It's something like a cloud.
Yeah.
In fact, it gets in the way of my presence. It gets in the way of my devotionals. I look at it like a dream. Like, oh my gosh, when I'm able to just get out of debt, like I'll be able to like
Breathe. Yeah.
And I'm not there yet, but like I dream about it and I think about it. I want to be. Why did you want to invest in the show? Because you're a sponsor. Join redpanda.com, guys. Use code Bible.
Yeah.
Why?
The same thing that I saw in Weezy, same thing I seen in Al. You're a good person. The helpers and the kind people always get fucked over first, though. And I see your talent. So same with me. When I had this vision to do this in like 2010, everyone was like, nobody wants to hear investing from like your lens. That's what I was told. I'm like, you meant my hue, right? But people don't want to help the ones that they know are incredibly talented. Like even when me and Al did Unfiltered, I was like, yo, gonna be one of the greatest directors of all time. Like I don't want to say what he got coming, but it's certain things that I can see.
He's a talented boy, man. I'm sorry, I don't want to infantilize
legend,
man.
Right?
Yeah.
Same with you. Like I grew up in church my entire life. Very few people have been able to teach the lessons on the Bible, making fun. Same with me with investing. So I know what uphill battle you're fighting. Now, at a certain point, you'll be the biggest person in the space, and Osteen and everybody gravitate to you and want to use you for their own purposes, right? But I feel if you can help someone and you can see yourselves in them, you should help. Most people would just say, hey, I'm praying for you. Yeah. And move it. I think prayer plus Cash App is a hell of a lot better on top of it. Because a lot of times when people say, I'll pray for you, they're praying for you not to win. As Christians, when people say that they pray for you, how often do you ask, what's the prayer that you actually said? I ask people, what you pray for? I need to know. Because not everyone...
You don't need to know.
I need to know. No, I need.
That's the ego.
True. Yeah.
Prayer is intimate. You don't have to be that invasive.
If a person actually prayed for you, they wouldn't have to say it.
I don't necessarily believe that's true.
I do.
But I'm not going to question your desire to want to know. You know, that's kind of security is yours and yours alone. But you're right. I often find that the people that support you the most are those that are strangers. That applies to content creating. That applies to like
everything. Again,
in the book of Obadiah, he talks about that when the Edomites were, the Edomites are neighbors of Israel. If you know the story, do you know the story of Abraham? Obviously, Abraham. Yeah, Abraham married Sarah. Yeah. They had kids. They had Isaac and Rebecca had kids, and Isaac and Rebecca had Jacob and Esau. You know the story of Jacob and Esau. Yeah. Esau sold his birthright for a stew. He literally sold it off, and then later his brother Jacob was mischievous, disguised himself as Esau, who was the eldest and deserved his blessing from his father, Isaac. He stole Esau's birthright. Later, we know Jacob his name was changed to Israel. That's why we're named Israel, and that's why the 12 tribes of Israel were Jacob's 12 sons. And Esau went to Edom. So Edom and Israel were brother nations, the closest. So they had they weren't the same, but they were brother nations, but had internal beef. There's a strife there that saw many generations. And in the book of Obadiah, what the prophet is saying is he's rebuking the Edomites for sitting idly as people, as enemy lands like the Moabites. They were attacking Judah, the capital of Israel, like Jerusalem, and they did nothing. In fact, Obadiah tells us that not only they didn't do anything, they added to it. They're brothers. And Obadiah said, those are your brothers. You're supposed to be helping them. What? In the world? And it reminded me of when our own people don't support us. Here you have young Dolph just got killed in Memphis where he's from. Yeah. His own people killed him.
That's how it happens. Shout out to Boosie. Boosie said it like you have the highest probability.
Oh, that's right.
Getting killed in your hometown.
Yeah. The Bible talks about that. Yeah. It really be your own people that stab you. Yeah. And it's pride. Edom. So the Edomites, this is good. So the Edomites, I was trying to figure out, like, why did the Edomites not help their brothers? Come on. Why? Yeah. It's pride. It wasn't hate. Because at the end of the day, Esau and Jacob had a moment in their story where they hugged like brothers do, you know?
Yeah.
They said they're brothers, there's love there. But Israel had stabbed Esau in the back. Yeah. And I think that's hard to let go of, really, that resentment, that pride. Yeah. So I felt like Edom, the reason why Obadiah wrote a short book about it was to highlight how corrupt and dangerous pride can be in the home, within family. Yeah. Like, and when you said that stuff about like, when I get to a place where my reach is a little bigger, the net is wider, I'm gonna need like all the help I can get, mentors or something, like, because I don't know. Clara says it's the most annoying part about me. I'm too trusting. I trust too much. That's why she's my home girl. That's my wife. She's literally my wife. I will wife her right now if it wasn't against my doctrine. This is poetic. Like the fact that I'm with the master investor in a dollar bill dress.
With $100 bill.
Is this 100? Yes, 100.
That's fire with them boots and that coat.
I'm trying not to get my chichos in. I'm a $100 bill, like not my fupa. But like, yes, guys, look at me. Look at me. Anyways, the fact that this was too, what's it called? The synchronicity of it all. Like the Lord is so intentional. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't even know how to end this.
I don't know we was going to have therapy.
How to end this. I don't know. I don't know, but I appreciate you for doing this and for like spending as much time. Like, I'm so honored. I'm so grateful.
I told you I appreciate you. Like, I'm a fan of what you're doing. Step into your greatness, though. You have to.
Yeah.
You have to be your biggest
When I'm
fan.
out of debt, it'll be easier.
You have to do it now.
Okay.
You have to do it now. And you know that I'm right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You deserve it. No one is going to want you to win more than you. The debt thing isn't the thing that's holding you back.
It's myself.
It's always same thing. Like I just told you, I went to dinner with them and they told me, hey, you're about to walk into a damn landmine. I'm like, bro, nothing can blow me up. And I'm like, bro, my leg blown off, bro. Like, you help me shoot this thing because the dude that was supposed to shoot it, they ain't shoot no more. You know? Like, it's always us. It's the fear of what if it doesn't work out. We're all creative. Like, we know what to do.
Yeah, but how do I? Okay.
Say it.
But like, it's so much banter. I hear that. Mm-hmm. Like, when's it going to be my turn? I just don't know. Like, it almost feels like the further, it's like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, math, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, like whatever, you know the expression. That's how it feels like. It's like this never ending, like, when's it going to be me? When's it going to be my turn? Well, I'll just keep
I can help you in the money part. That's easy. I can help you with that. But, yeah. But you have to, I mean, even for me.
I don't like asking for help. I'll do it myself.
That's not the way.
I know, but it's like it's like a thing. I don't like asking for help. I'll do it myself.
I'll give the help, but you have to get out the way.
I just said it's hard for me to do that. I don't ask for help. Primero me quedo pelada, like before I ask for help, before I admit, like that's that's the thing with relationships too. I don't want them to see me in that way, and that's why I'm probably
in what way?
Like down. I'm scared about that. I'd rather deal with it alone. I always have.
Can't do that.
I know. I get it. I'm saying it because I know.
Shout out to the bae that cares about, like, give your all.
He's not my bae yet.
He bae. I saw the twinkle in your eyes. Mm-hmm. You got too happy when you brought the name up. He's vulnerable and he's so succinct.
The world will never know who he is. I'll never put his face out ever. And if there is a face, I'm putting like a...
Don't hide him, but...
Oh, I'm hiding him.
Keep it secluded.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah. You want to know what's crazy? The deeper I get into my Christianity, the more I believe in that stuff about spirits and the whatevers and the this and the... I never believe it. You would think it's the opposite. It's like, no, the Lord tells us to get away from that stuff because it's real. It's not that it's fake. It's that if you're messing with certain energy. So anyways, like and ain't nobody gonna know when I'm pregnant. Nobody will know. That baby will pop out and they will not know.
Smart.
I will record the podcast with something over my stomach and pretend it's a fashion statement or something.
That's smart.
I legit don't know how to end this, but this is chill.
We can wrap it up whatever Clara now says.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. You guys, thank you. That's it. Thank you. Whatever. We'll edit it. This is good. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Oh,
You're amazing.
oh, you are. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really do. Can I give you a hug? Oh, you're so good.
I'm gonna take a nap a fucking hour ago. I was like super therapy.
Oh, you're so great.
That was awesome.
You're so incredible. Like, I'm.
30 minutes
I feel so good.
You guys
Thank
have to
you,
do
Lord.
an
Thank you,
ad or
God.
anything like that.
Oh, God. Thank you. I'm going to keep you in my prayers and ask that He covers everything that you do. And thank you so much.